Hello everyone, and this is my review for WWE NXT Brooklyn 2. And with everything being said, like match-wise tonight, everything was either good, really good, or great in every sense. So I'll break it down match by match and how I felt about certain things throughout the entire show. Let's go ahead and just start with the Austin Aries versus No Way Jose. First of all, No Way Jose's entrance, I was not expecting him to get the reaction that he did. I was expecting that NXT Brooklyn crowd and that more international type feel crowd to be, well, a little bit against him. But they weren't. They were actually going with the song. The Congo line bit at the beginning was also kind of nice to see. Austin Aries got a huge pop itself. I like the match between the two because I just like the dichotomy of what No Way Jose is doing. He's like this fiesta party dancing type gimmick when he's outside the ring. When he's inside the ring, he's all business and having these he is beginning to have far better matches now. And this match tonight was a really good match between the two of them. It just felt like a lot of fun. Austin Aries goes over, which I felt was probably something they needed to do for him on NXT Takeover for this point in time, and maybe they will continue on with this No Way Jose feud. I don't know where they'll go with this, but both had a good showing here. I thoroughly enjoyed this match. The next match was Ember Moon versus Billie Kay, and let's just go off and say, if there was anybody who was surprised by what Ember Moon did, especially at the end of the match, winning it, obviously it was no surprise that she was going to win the match itself. But that flip stunner, and if you hadn't seen it before, now you have, and it always has looked amazing. I've actually seen a few indie shows where she had done that in the past. So overall, the match itself, the full match itself, obviously the end was really good, but the full match itself, I kind of liked where they went with it. It was a pretty good match between both of them, and they didn't necessarily bury Billie Kay with this one. They allowed her to they had her get offense in there. It wasn't one of those debuts that said, "Oh, this person's just going to dominate the entire match," and that's what it was. It was pretty much just to showcase what they can do. No, it felt like an actual match. It felt like an actual competitive match, and the two of them actually had done that. And it was a good way that they had done that because they've been building up Billie Kay a little bit here and there for the past month or so. So having her actually have a decent amount of offense inside the match was a good way of going and keeping the character at least relevant and not potentially burying that character by getting destroyed at the actual takeover special. The next match was Bobby Roode versus Andreas Cien Almas, and I'll go off and say this here. The entrance for Bobby Roode was amazing. That was the crowd reaction to it was just great. The crowd was hot the entire night, which is always a good thing for a wrestling show. When the crowd is going ballistic pretty much the entire night, it's usually a good sign for a good show. And this goes no different here. In the actual match itself, obviously I expected Bobby Roode to go over here. You know, first match on TV, you expect him to win. But they didn't go. But again, just like with the match before, they didn't go off and bury Cien Almas here by making him get dominated or anything like that. Matter of fact, honestly, I felt like Cien Almas looked really good in this match. He like the moves that he was pulling off, what Bobby Roode was having him do to him as well, and certain moves that he was doing. I felt like they did a really good job of getting both guys over in this sense. I'm not a big fan of the pump handle slam finish, but then again, you knew his finisher was going to have to change. He could have either gone with a fisherman suplex or something else. He went with a pump handle slam because you know he's not going to be able to really do a Death Valley driver when you have a variation of that being done as Cena's finisher. So you knew that was probably not going to be his finisher in any way, shape, or form. But with that being said, again, good match between the two of them. And I was thoroughly impressed with how Cien Almas came off in this match. He came off rather well, and hopefully see maybe subtle character changes to him, and we'll see where things go with him as well. Obviously, Bobby Roode's probably in a good spot right now, so we'll see where everything goes on that side of everything. Up next, and the next three matches are the title matches, is the Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano versus the Revival match. And this was match of the night. This was a fairly well-told, maybe not story-driven match, but there was a story being told there of how closely Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano are coming to the tag team titles, only for the save to happen. As a matter of fact, they even make it look like they had won, only to realize that the foot was on the bottom rope the entire time. Things like that made that match thoroughly enjoyable. And the reason why I say it was a great match, even with the ending being the Revival winning, is because the Revival are the most legit heels in NXT, and maybe even in all of WWE at this point. Because guess what? They were getting booed most of the night. Yeah, that's right. The heels, who sometimes get cheered, or even if you're really good, you do get cheered. These guys, good heels, were getting booed, which is a great thing for the heels in this sense. I've always enjoyed the Revival, because they are the ones that get the heel heat instead of getting cheered like some of the other heels do. So again, this was a really good match in that sense. Good teasing of when Gargano and Ciampa were going to get hot tags in there. This was good down to, I wouldn't even say down to the basics, but just good, great tag team wrestling going on in this match. I thoroughly enjoyed it the entire time. Next up was Asuka versus Bayley, and this was a really good match. This match itself was it definitely delivered on what they were trying to go for storyline wise. Like, what changes was Bayley going to have to try to do to try to win the match, and she had to play a more aggressive style, which she does in the match. The match itself was extremely hard hitting from both sides, and this was almost like one of those an area of saying, it's like, hey, not only can strong style be done during like the main matches, but it can be done right here as well with the women matches and look good. This was very good way of going. Like I said, both of them did a really good job here with this particular match, and it was a fitting send off for Bayley, because she puts over Asuka pretty huge again in this spot. Having Asuka kick out of the Bayley belly, everything in that sense. She puts her over big with a big knockout shot to the head at the end of the match. And, of course, the send-off afterwards, making it feel like, well, as it should have probably happened maybe a little while ago, Bayley coming up to the main roster. So, more than likely, we will see her on the main roster here very soon. Really good match from both here in this case. Up next was the main event of the night, which was Shinsuke Nakamura versus Samoa Joe, the NXT title on the line. And, again, this is a really good match. Again, another strong style variation match between both of them. Both of them played it off really well too. The violinist spot at the beginning was an absolutely amazing entrance. I like the aspect of having the violinist being there and being the only one out there outside of Shinsuke Nakamura. It came off really well in the terms of the entrance. And so hopefully they can do more things like that somewhere down the road. I don't know what else they can possibly do to go along with it. But the match between Samoa Joe and Shinsuke Nakamura, again, hard-hitting affair. Joe also throwing in the submission time just for a little bit of downtime in there. Him playing off the Samoan submission machine to go along with it. And like I said, just hard-hitting affair from both of them, to the point that they, at the end, I'm not sure if they were playing it off, which I think they were. They were playing it off just like they did in Laurel, Massachusetts, that Joe might have injured his jaw or something during the match. They even throw the X sign up and everything like that. They had done that during that particular house show when Joe won the title, and maybe they could play that off as something for down the road in a potential rematch or something in that sense. Honestly, like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed it. The crowd was into it the entire time. Really good match here from both guys, and Shinsuke going over is probably the right choice, because you almost feel like Samoa Joe as well will probably be going to the main roster at some point in time, and it's just a way, one way for them to begin that transition, because obviously a potential rematch is there and everything like that. So we'll see where they go with everything on that side. Overall, really good show. It was thoroughly enjoyable. I can't say anything bad about the show, because the closest thing that you would have to anything bad is that, a match was decent. It wasn't overly great. It wasn't really that good, but it was a decent match. And that's when you're saying something like that on any kind of wrestling special, when the focus on these specials is always about wrestling, you can't complain in any way, shape, or form for that. So, with that being said, that is my review for WWE NXT TakeOver 2. I thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great day.